Coming up, this is our second to last show of the year. We're going to talk all things Christmas at Disney. Up next. Well, happy beginning of December, everyone. My name is John. I'm one of your hosts of the Universe of Magic podcast, and I am joined at the table virtually by our good friend Alyssa.
Hello, everybody.
And our third chair, he's been with us for quite a while. We like him so much. Well, I mean, he's part of the show. Jeff, how's it going, Jeff?
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
So this week, we have made the decision to talk Christmas because, I mean, we're what, 20 days from, or 21 days from Christmas now? Or, yeah, Christmas is on a Monday. So why not, get after it and talk about Christmas? So,
and I'm getting ready to leave here in a couple of days for Christmas.
Yes. So before we get into any like talking about the goodness that is Disney, we are brought to you by momentsofmagictravel.com. Get your free no obligation quote. We do Disney, we do Universal, we do cruises, we do all destinations around the world. So momentsofmagictravel.com for all your theme park, you name it, we book it needs. So guys, man, I just got back from Disney, and this is my second time doing Disney at Christmas time, and I love it. There's so much to it. So
and this is the best time right now.
Yes.
To kind of go when I've got some families there right now. I don't know if you guys have some or not, and they're saying that like they're walking on things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm crossing my fingers that when I get there this coming weekend, we're the same. But this is the time to go before those 2 crazy weeks coming up, which I'm sure we're going to touch on, right?
Yes, we actually. So a friend of mine just went with me. I actually met them down in Orlando. We actually went probably a couple days before Thanksgiving. It was crowded, but man, you were able to walk on things. So November and December, again, momentsofmagictravel.com. So Alyssa, you kind of wrote the show tonight, so go ahead and just, lead us.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if you think Christmas at Disney, we all think the castle's lit up, Main Street, Snope. Like, I think that's the person that comes to our mind. So, and we were going to do something a little different this episode to talk, because we want to be real with the people who listen. So we're going to talk both pros and cons of going around this time. So,
yes.
Time of year, the Christmas season in general is fantastic. When I went on our last trip, it was over that hump between Halloween and Christmas. And so if that's something you want to experience Christmas, Magic Kingdom really is your only option because the other parks are not decorated just yet. Yep. The resorts are not decorated just yet. You really need to go closer to Thanksgiving or after. And so we had considered even for our next trip, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I didn't really get my full fix this last time. So I think we're going to actually do this week next year because it's such a good time to go with such low waits and everything. So, but I don't know about y'all, but I'm really crossing my fingers that they bring back those lights on the castle. I think it's a love-hate kind of thing for a lot of people, but I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I love that frozen look to it. It's just gorgeous. I think the people that complain are whining about seeing all those things during the day. The little, and
it's just not magical.
It kind of reminds me of going back. And I don't know if you guys remember, if I'm aging myself here, but I remember the 25th anniversary when the castle was a birthday cake. And I remember the outrage from that, and the people were so ticked off that they come in their once in a lifetime trip and they got a pink castle. I thought it was cool, but my perspective is different because we were going on a regular basis, so.
But nowadays, if you went when it was the cake castle, you are like, people are loving it. Like,
yeah.
I think it's such a nostalgic thing now that if you got to go that
And
year.
it's not something that they would really, I mean, let's call it for what it is. Disney stays pretty tight to the fan base, and they don't want to take risks like that, and they listen to the small minority that is the Dreamlights on the castle, that they don't like it, and so that's why they don't do it, even though the rest of us are far more vocal and we want to see stuff like that. So that's
so you think Disney listens to us, John? So if they do, bring back the Osborne lights. Please.
Yes. I like and there's another rant I have down deep.
I think that they could easily do the Osborne lights along the main street of Hollywood Studios. I think the problem is trying to get them up in a decent amount of time and not have like construction in that area where people go through. But I think that would be a perfect area to do it.
Perfect area. I've even thought about, at Disney Springs, might be a not a bad area there to do them. They got lots of room to work with. If you think about that area where the back half of the movie theater is with the Coke store, it's a nice wide open area right there. I think that could be a great area to do them in there, but man, those I loved the Osborne Festival of Lights. I mean, I would spend 4 hours in the streets of America back there, just sit there and be mesmerized by them. And
same.
I would love it. I would love it.
Pro tip that was actually something I considered doing next year. Did you know though that those lights are over at Give Kids to the World now?
Yes.
You can pay for a ticket and to go see them.
Yep, I did. I guess I did hear something about that, and that that's a great shout out for Give Kids to the World. I got a friend that used to be involved with that, and what a great, fantastic organization that is.
Yeah. So if you have a rental car or a free day where you're not really doing anything, it goes to charity. So I mean, that could be good to do.
Goes to an amazing charity.
Yeah, and there are a lot of other things around Orlando. I always say that too. That was another part of our idea for going next year was doing Disney and then the last 2 nights staying at the Gaylord to go do Ice again because that's a family favorite too.
Absolutely.
I know it's not necessarily Disney, but I think then that's a good relaxation from the parks after too. So, but yeah.
But your tip about waiting until maybe right after Thanksgiving is pro tip awesomeness, because there's just a lot that you're going to miss if you go a little bit before, other than Magic Kingdom being decorated. It's very sporadic and it's never the same every year. You just don't know what's going to be up. But once you get past Thanksgiving, you can pretty much, and I would say a good 7 or 8 days past Thanksgiving, you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to have it at Epcot. The tree's going to be up at Hollywood. Disney Springs is all going to be decorated. This is the magical week right now that we're going into, which is why we're going right now.
Yeah. And actually, I will say that like a couple years ago when I rode Rise of the Resistance when it opened, that week after Thanksgiving is the best week to go. Like listen, people ask us all the time, what's the best week to go? And there really is no ideal week, but that hit between Thanksgiving and or that hit after Thanksgiving that week is about the best time to go. And it was a bonus that one day. I think we did over that stay we own DVC. We did 5 resorts and 8 nights, but we added a night to experience Rise of the Resistance, which is by far the best Disney moment. Maybe we'll have an episode where we talk about our best Disney moments, but that by far was the shining moment. This was John at his peak, as Alyssa likes to say. So
awesomeness, awesome.
But we talked about a lot of the best times to go, and some of the it wasn't bad going Halloween over Christmas time. It's just again you don't get the full Christmas effect. But I think we can all probably agree. I wouldn't call it the worst time, but the busiest time for sure to go is going to be that week of Christmas
or those 2 weeks between Christmas and New Year's. It's insanity. Now granted, insanity hasn't been quite as bad with the last couple of years with COVID and stuff, but I would expect this year to be back to full blast.
The Magic Kingdom has been for I think 2 weeks now booked on Christmas Day. You can't get in. So
and I don't want to and Alyssa, John, tell me how you feel about it. But I don't want to like discourage people from going then, because there are people, crazy people, but there are people who love the crowds, and if you like being around people and the Christmas festivities and stuff, it is a great time to go.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me enough though. I've done it twice now in my life. Couldn't pay me enough to be at Magic Kingdom on New Year's Eve. It is probably.
I did July 4th at Magic Kingdom, and that was a lot.
As bad. Yeah,
it's not as bad, but like New Year's Eve, I'm gonna paint a picture for you. We were still up, by the fireworks, because there's 2 sets of fireworks. You got your normal ones around 8:00, then you got the countdown ones, starting, right for the countdown for midnight, right, to go to the new year. We were still in front of the castle a couple years ago, after the fireworks were done. And from that moment to getting to our car, which was in the transportation, it took us almost 4 hours. 4 hours. And it took 2 just to get out of the park. Like we were moving like molasses. So
yeah, I will.
It's crazy.
I will say we went, this last trip, we actually went to dinner at Be Our Guest. And I will say they have to solve the traffic problem, especially on an extended evening hours night.
Yeah.
They have to they need to open up the outlets on the sides there or do something, because we were stuck in traffic for a while.
Yeah.
Trying
and
to get back to.
They did open the back outlets at Magic Kingdom, to the left of Main Street and to the right of Main Street behind Casey's. They did open those for us.
Yeah.
Where you get to see all the inner workings, the courtyards of the workers back there, and it still took us that long. And the monorail, it was another 2 hours, so we actually walked.
Oh my God.
We walked all the way to Chicken Transportation Center because the new walkway was opened, going from over to the Grand Floridian.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it's definitely, worth once in your lifetime experiencing New Year's at Magic Kingdom. It was cool. Now, on the con flip side, I've done New Year's at Epcot, which is a blast too. All the countries are celebrating in their own little way. Some of them, like Italy and all of them, have DJs and stuff. It's a cool experience at Epcot too. But those are the only 2 parks that really have things going on at midnight. Animal and Hollywood. I don't recall them even being open past 9.
No. So moving on to resorts, I think if we're ready to do that, like let's talk about
before you do that. The one of the things that Alyssa, you had written down here that I think is kind of something cool to bring up, the overnight transformation at Magic Kingdom, because a lot of people have asked me, what does that mean? What is it? It's legitimately that, like when the park goes to sleep and everybody is kicked out on October 31st, Halloween, there's a all-night shift that is working to transform and take everything Halloween down, and the next people that come in the next morning, November 1st, are transported into, Christmas. And if you've never seen the video on YouTube, Disney Parks has put together a little, it's like a fast motion video. What do they call that? Time lapse. And it's one of the coolest videos I think that they've ever done, where it shows that transformation. So
my only complaint is that was fully what I expected this year, and then they just had to add another Halloween party on November 1st this year. Yeah. So my plan got ruined
because it's money.
Yep.
I mean,
Alyssa brings up a really good point.
You can have tentative plans, but also know that the dates of the parties may not fully line up with what you want. And pro tip, next year's Wine and Dine 5K is on Halloween. So like all the Wine and Dine activities are kind of going into all that transformation stuff. So like if you're going to run those races, you also need to plan appropriately.
Yeah.
If you want to see that transformation overnight too.
But pro tip, if that weekend happens to be like December or November 1st or something like that, check the schedule out and just make sure that they're not doing another Halloween, party. Right. That is a really important tip that Alyssa just brought up.
Yeah. We're not going to touch on this because I think we've done an entire episode on it too, but we have to mention obviously Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party as well. So you could go back. We did another episode where we talked in depth, I think, about all the things you can do there, but definitely I think one of my top 3 favorite things I've ever done at Disney World is that party. I love it.
Yep.
So all right, but moving on to resorts.
So moving on to resorts, every I almost want to say every deluxe resort has, I mean, all the resorts have some type of Christmas display, but the monorail resorts in particular are spectacular.
They
We
are.
were supposed to, for my last trip, we were supposed to stay at the Grand Floridian, and we did not get a chance to see the gingerbread house, but I heard this year they have topped themselves.
Mm.
They have found a way to do that. We did stay at Bay Lake Tower, and the gingerbread house was really cool. But all the resorts, especially in the Boardwalk area or in the Epcot area and in the Magic Kingdom area, they all have like their own specific, like at Beach Club or Yacht Club, I think they have like a carousel made of gingerbread. And you go in there, instead of smelling like the typical Beach Club smell, you smell gingerbread everywhere, and it's so amazing the amount of work, the amount of detail that these pastry chefs put in. I
And they're
think
giving little samples, right? They give little samples of
they
the.
give samples, and you can also buy your own little share of it, which is really cool. Um, you know, so again, like honestly, for me, because Alyssa like posted it as far as like the next question is like what resort you would want to stay at Christmas time. The Grand Floridian, man. Like
It's
honestly, the Grand Floridian, because that gingerbread house, I tell you, is massive, and there's so much detail to it. I think the one year we went, they did a remake of Walt's house.
that's
Mm.
cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I agree with you, John. And thinking about my trip next year, Grand Floridian may or may not be in the budget, but the other one that I especially love around Christmas time that I think we will probably stay at is the Wilderness Lodge. So
Yep.
I love lodges. We got engaged at a lodge in my husband's hometown that feels a lot like Wilderness Lodge, and it's always decorated up to the nines, like in Christmas decor. And so that gives me a similar feel, and I love that so much. And again, I grew up in Florida, like a lodge is really not a common thing down there. So to have it all Christmassy and decorated and everything. And then you can just take the boat right over to Magic
Yeah.
Kingdom, get on the monorail,
Yep.
hop to all the resorts, see all the decorations. I agree. I think Grand Floridian would be my number one, but if it's not within a price point, a lot of times Wilderness Lodge has some excellent deals, and you can still get some really amazing Christmas deals.
And along with those two, if you're really like, if you're Kevin in Home Alone and you love big Christmas trees, Animal Kingdom Lodge has one of the biggest and most beautiful trees on all property.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's in the Jumbo House.
We
Nakadani
did see
Village.
that.
Yep.
We did see that when we did stay there.
It's amazing. That Christmas tree is amazing. So Animal Kingdom Lodge is high on my list, but if I'm being honest, I love the Boardwalk. That's where we own. It's always we usually stay there when we do the Christmas stuff. It's got that nostalgic Christmas feel to me. Might not be as decorated and as beautiful as some of the other resorts, but those would be my two that I'm a big fan of. And what do? We just described all the deluxe resorts. The moderates and moderates decorate. Caribbean Beach comes to mind, and in Port
The
Orleans.
values do too.
Yeah,
like we were when we were there over Thanksgiving and at Art of Animation, it wasn't anything super elaborate, but they did decorate it up with the garland and lights and everything.
Yep.
So.
Pop Century does a really nice job for the values that are listening and thinking they're going to stay at a value resort. They do a great job too. All the resorts are really getting the Christmas treatment. So don't think, by not staying at one of them. You stay at a Disney resort, period, you're going to be immersed in Christmas.
Yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is definitely
so.
And again, like I said, you don't have to stay at these deluxe resorts. You can take the public transportation, go visit them and everything. Like my mom just took a solo day to Magic Kingdom the other day, and I was like, you should go to the Grand Floridian. The gingerbread house is up and everything. So she really wanted to go see it all.
Yeah, that's a great pro tip. Another one from Melissa is that most people don't realize you do not have to stay at a resort to go visit a resort. Sometimes, and during peak times of the year, and those 2 weeks of Christmas can be one of them, or during spring break, the security guard may turn you away if you're in your car or not staying there. You know,
and they've gotten a lot more strict about that.
They've gotten a little bit more strict, but you know, if you can jump on a bus from Disney Springs or one of the parks and go into a resort, there's no way around them to stop you from that, and enjoy the restaurants, check things out.
Same for, I found this out the hard way. Same thing for the, this is both July 4th and New Year's fireworks. If you are not staying at the Polynesian, you cannot view the fireworks from the beach, even if you
because
have
that place is packed.
Right. So
I've stayed there twice.
You have to get a special wristband, and that's something I think they've done in recent years because it became so well known that you just get a dinner reservation at Kona and then go to the beach after. No, they won't let you know. Not if you're not staying. So yeah. So anyway, okay, moving on. So
yes,
Hollywood Studios, I think, is actually a lot of people's favorite park during the holidays because their decor is a bit different, but they're doing what Magic Kingdom used to do with like the wreaths and the garland across the entire like Main Street, which I miss in Magic Kingdom. I wish they would bring that back. I think they don't because of the projections and stuff now. But I think that that's really great that they do. And they put a Santa hat on Gertie and like all those good things. So, but
and they had the best fireworks show. Jingle bell, jingle bam.
Which they brought back for their new after hours holiday party, Jollywood Nights. So, which has been a lot in the news because the first night was kind of a flop.
Whoa, wow.
But I'm hearing excellent things from subsequent nights because I think that they're getting the crowd flow and the lines more under control after getting feedback from that first night. At least that's what I'm seeing. I don't know what you guys are seeing.
The first night, and I did watch a lot of like Disney news, Disney news vlogs, and a lot of it was the ticket distribution for when you go into the parks. They had one, but the line was like over an hour. So there was a bunch of other places, like there was a bar out by, Tower of Terror. It was a specific lounge. I forget the name of it. But
Top
again, the wait for that was over an hour. So you had where you only get, I think it's from 8:30 to 12:30, you get 4 hours. People were waiting like 2 hours for the wristbands and to get into this area by the Tower of Terror. And so a lot of it, the Disney community was up in arms. They were just like, nope, they're not doing this. I mean, the premise was great. I mean, we talked about it when they first announced it. It sounded amazing. But I almost attended that first night, and I could tell you that I really hesitated about it because I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't really, the first time you run an event, you have to see how it goes. I mean, you go to like Mickey's Very Merry or you go to, Not So Scary. They've been doing this for years. They have that down to a science. They have crowd control down to a science. But man, you add something new to Hollywood Studios when they haven't really done it before other than the after hours party.
Yeah.
It's really something different.
It's kind of like going on like an inaugural sailing. Like when people went on the Wish, a lot of those first timers were a little disappointed, but like they had never done it before, right? So like I think kind of same thing now. Like you and I went on the Wish, we loved it. We felt like it was a well-oiled machine. So
yes,
kind of same thing because it seems like they took some of the feedback. They added more characters. I think to then cut down on some of the lines for the other ones. I've heard that the lines for the bars are flowing a little bit better. I don't know if they added another bar or 2 lines or what.
One of the complaints that I heard was that they had the cast members just in regular Tower of Terror gear. It wasn't themed. They were just pouring drinks. It wasn't themed. They didn't really put a lot of thought into this, which, I mean, sometimes is par for the course for Disney when it comes to just like doing these fun events. But
yeah. I think if you took it as an after hours event where there's very limited capacity, you can basically walk on rides. I saw that Rise of the Resistance was kind of a walk on for most of the night. So was Slinky Dog, and with some added entertainment, added food options, then it wasn't, because I think people were thinking it was going to be a Mickey's Very Merry, like a party, but that was not the case.
Yeah, after hearing about that first night, we backed out of doing it on this trip. We're going to give it 1 year and do it next year. Just let them get the bugs out. And it sounds like they've gotten the bugs out now. it sounds like it's been a lot better. And I'm sure those people on the first night were given some type of pixie dust or something, I would hope. But we decided to be a partyless trip this time. We're going to do it, next year or the year after.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see kind of what they deferred.
So before we jump on to the next topic, let's go ahead and we'll just do a couple quick things. So if you are subscribed to our audio podcast, we are on, or if you're not, we are on all audio platforms: Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, you name it, we're on there. Be sure to like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review. And as always, we are brought to you by Moments of Magic Travel, momentsofmagictravel.com for your free, no obligation quote. It's right down there. So, hey, there you go. And we'll have links for all that fun stuff in the description. So, anyway, so
Epcot.
Yeah.
My favorite park. I'm going to spend every day that we're going this weekend starts and ends at Epcot.
I will say, and just to go on a little John rant, I attended the last couple of days of Food and Wine, and it was meh. But anyway, the Festival of Holidays, from what I've seen, looks a lot better.
I want to go just to do their little cookie trail this year, where you get like the wish star thingy.
Yes.
I want to do that. It looks so great. And the cookie options look fantastic this year. Yep. So I'm like, we went and saw Wish on Thanksgiving in the theaters, by the way. We loved it. I thought it was great.
We actually saw it at Disney Springs, which was neat. It was a really good movie. So
that was great. Gives you the classic. Nothing jaw dropping, but good, and the music was stellar. So and when I saw the star from Wish, I was like kind of really excited because it was cute. So yes, Festival of the Holidays. They've got some awesome options this year. And new things too, compared to I think previous years.
Which and they have the classic cookie trail, which we just talked about,
and they got the narrators, for the
candlelight.
And they've had a little drama here this week with some of their celebrity narrators. They had Simu Lee back out on them because I guess, and for most people who don't know who Simu Lee is, he was in Shang-Chi, one of my favorite Marvel movies. And he got injured, his knee or his Achilles or something, and he's been in a lot of pain. I saw his tweet or his Instagram post, but they had Bart from Mercy Me, which is awesome. I love Mercy Me.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he came in and filled in. And then I also heard who was it?
I'm blanking on her name.
Sophia?
No, the girl that plays in Star Wars. What's her name?
Oh,
I'll look it up here, but
Sophie.
Okay.
Anyway, they had another celebrity who got sick, and they had to pinch hit too. So I know next week we're going to be in for a couple of the processionals. So I'm looking forward. We're going on Doogie Howser night.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask.
I've seen him before. He's great.
Yeah, I've never got
Neil
to see
Patrick
Doogie
Harris.
Howser. Yep.
Neil Patrick Harris was great when we got to see him. So that was really.
Are you gonna go when Brendan Fraser's there? Because that was the one I really wanted.
We're leaving like the day he gets there, so we're gonna miss him. Damn it! But
I know I would have made a trip down to go see him do it if it wasn't in the middle of the week, and I didn't.
I know. I would love to see Brendan Fraser. We're gonna get to see Neil Patrick Harris and Marlee Matlin, which, if nice. For those that don't know, Marlee Matlin, hearing impaired, so they're going to have somebody signing. She'll be signing, and then somebody will be repeating what she says. But I've seen her before, and she was amazing too. So, but yeah, and for those that don't even know what we're talking about, at Epcot in the America's Theaters, they do what's called the Candlelight Processional. It's a beautiful telling and story of the birth of Jesus Christ. And they have, the narrator goes through the story, right from Mary, being pregnant with Jesus all the way to his birth. And in between there, they sing songs, spiritual songs from Christmas. It's an incredible, incredible, cool show. I get goosebumps whenever I see it.
Mm-hmm. And pro tip. two pro tips actually. So you can get a dining package for all the different restaurants around Epcot, but if you really want Regal Eagle Smokehouse, I don't know if they're doing it this year, but keep an eye out for it. If you happen to want, lunch or dinner at Regal Eagle and they have dining packages available, take advantage of it because that's something that they've done in the past.
Mm-hmm. So. And a little cheaper and a little last minute too.
Yes.
And how do you guys feel about the dining packages that for the processional? I've got families who insist on me booking them for them, and I have my opinions on them. What do you guys do? Do you guys get the dining packages, or do you walk in and I'll give you my story after. I'm curious.
So I've never done a dining package for the candlelight, but I've also never had a good seat for it. So I did.
Yeah. I've actually done that. And it's because, the people I was with insisted on doing the dining package because they wanted a good seat. And I can argue that we didn't really have a good seat, but it is what it is. So,
and here's my pro tip. This is another reason why I picked this time of year when it's not that busy. So if you, and it works for me almost every time. If you lollygag around the procession, the dining package line, which is if you're looking at the theater, it's on the left side. The right side is for like the general public who will start getting in line an hour or two early, right? But the package line, if you just lollygag around the back of that, what always happens is those people get in, and there's almost always extra seats this time of year because they don't really pack them in like they do those 2 weeks. And they open it up for the general public, and you get up there pretty darn close. It's happened to me 3 or 4 times. I'll just kind of stand back there and just kind of wait for them to, all right, who anybody else wants to come in? And there's that seating that's still being held for everybody that they don't fill, and they can't have it not filled. It looks weird. So they just let people either move up that's already been sitting, or they let us come in off the side and take those seats. And never really had a bad seat, never really had a bad seat. And it does work.
So I did a dining package for the first time for Fantasmic, which when you did the math, it was really only $10 a person more than the meal you were already paying for. And I was like, oh yeah, $10 for center seats reserved for you. Total bargain, I felt like. And I expected them to do that because we were kind of rushing to get there on time. And when we got there, an entire row was still empty and the rest of the stadium was pretty full. And I expected them to do that last minute to kind of fill everybody in, and they didn't. So we kind of got our pick of seats, which was awesome. So because I had such a good experience with that, I would probably try the candlelight processional package in the future if it was important to me to get at least a reserved seat to sit down and watch the show,
especially during those 2 weeks, right at the end of the year.
So or if I was with my parents or something and that was important to them, I would do it in a heartbeat. But that being said too, you then have to figure out, well, what's available, the times, does it work with your schedule, and you don't really get always a first pick of what you want, and the packages are not always released when they should be too,
and they're not always cheap either.
True.
For what you get,
it's a fixed pricing, right? It's that prefixed pricing. So,
which the Fantasmic one was, and it was we did the cheapest option, which is Sci-Fi. And again, I did the math. It was only $10 more if we did that. But some of these other ones are already buffets or something, or that aren't buffets, but they give you the highest price point. So you have to get a steak or the most expensive thing to make it worth it. That was the reason we didn't do Hollywood Brown Derby, was because I wanted the Cobb salad, but the fixed price was $75. I was I'm not paying that. So if that makes sense. But
good pro tip. She's just full of them tonight.
She is, man. She is the most valuable podcaster here.
And obviously the Candlelight Processional, in my opinion, is the highlight of Epcot and the Christmas, everything. But the thing that doesn't get talked about enough about Epcot, and I just want to touch on it, is the 11 countries in the back decorate Christmas in their native and cultural way. So you actually get to experience Christmas in 11 different ways. You get to see how they celebrate it in France, and you might even see Pierre Noel go through, and all the different countries have their traditions and their culture. It's really cool.
I didn't think about that. You get to see a version of Santa kind of in a lot of those countries.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's pretty neat, just to get, because we live in America, and we celebrate in a traditional American way for most of us, and we don't even realize other countries do different things, and Epcot gives you that, which is, I guess, one of my pro tips is take some time in each country and check out some of the little Christmas shows that they do and all that stuff, because you're going to find that, culturally it's celebrated differently in a lot of different places, and Epcot is a great place to see that all in one shot in one day. So
good point. So we got one park left, the one that's probably lacking the most.
The one that's really lacking, and that's Animal Kingdom.
They have a great tree out front, before you get in. It's a beautiful tree, but once you get past that tree and you're inside, it's not a ton. There's a little bit of decorating in like Tusker House, and they need to bring back. You guys remember the Christmas parade?
That was a great parade.
Yes, it was. It was wonderful.
Yeah, agreed.
I need to find this photo, because I don't know if I've talked about it on the show before, but back in our 2019 Christmas trip, right in front of the Christmas tree was probably the most infamous photo I've ever taken. And that's where a gentleman walked in front of us, and the look of disdain, on my face. Like I like immediately when I saw the tree, I was triggered this past trip, because it's like, I'm like, oh man, like, I can't even, like, if I can find it, I'll post it right here. But
so come on, Disney, bring us some more Christmas.
John said they listened to us, so bring back the parade.
I mean, we are a very powerful show. I mean, like, you never know. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I don't know where Saint Iger is, somewhere in my stash, but I'm sure we can pull him out somewhere. So
they could, all those animals could walk around with like a wreath on their neck or something.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, they did. So I will say they did have the holiday puppeteers out when we were there.
Oh, I do.
Yes,
forget about them. Yeah.
They were definitely there. That was the one, thing that was, they had like penguins messing with people, and like, just stuff like that. So
that is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget about them.
Hopefully when I get there, in a few days, I'll actually be there Friday. Hopefully there's a little bit more than last year, and maybe there's more. They could just do so much with Animal Kingdom. I think it's got so much promise to bring Christmas in there, with the animals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. So we can't forget, it's not a park, but one of my favorite things when I lived in Orlando and even in Florida, I would just go down just to visit this, was at Disney Springs, the Christmas tree trail. Yeah. So, which I don't really love that they have now spread it across all of Disney Springs. It's not so much a trail as it is like a scavenger hunt now.
Yes. So, I agree with that sentiment. It was definitely something that was like, I mean, the trees are great because cast members decorate them, but I remember that one area that they had it in, which was where the rideshare area was.
Yep.
It being quite cluttered with people just trying to get in. And so now they have it spread out, and you don't really get an appreciation for it the way you would, like, if you were in that one area and just seeing it all together.
And for those that might not know exactly what we're talking about, the Christmas tree trail are several to maybe a few dozen Christmas trees that are decorated for maybe your favorite Disney princess. Maybe it's a Marvel tree, maybe there's a Star Wars tree, and think of all the Disney IPs, all the different
the
rides, anything Disney has made popular at Disney World, and the movies. And my wife can recall seeing a Goofy tree with a lot of the Goofy colors and his hat. My daughter got to see her favorite Mulan and what's the dragon that she has, Mushu, in there. Me being a big Star Wars geek, I was geeking out at the Darth Vader tree a few years ago. So I mean, it's an amazing set of Christmas trees that you kind of see them in a trail. But it sounds like from what you guys are saying, maybe I'll see it when we're down there. It's more of a scavenger hunt now, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it almost like forces you to go through the entire Disney Springs area, like the east and the west, like to be able to find them all.
Yeah.
That kind of stinks. But
you know, it's also a great place for those of you who got some Christmas shopping to do and you want to check off your Disney fan in your life. A lot of fun Christmas sales and stores and deals and cool Christmas stuff that's for sale all over Disney Springs.
Yep.
So all right. So what we're gonna quickly just mention, because we mostly talked Disney World today, because I think that's where the I don't know, height of all the celebrations and decor and everything are. But Disneyland, also beautiful during the holidays. Beautiful, but just a little bit different than Disney World. So the last year and this year, they have not brought back their holiday party, their Christmas holiday party, which I had some disappointed clients.
They are in California, and they're a little bit still locked down to a certain degree in California. It's a little bit different there. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to get political.
Well, they had a party in 2021 because I had clients that attended it. Was it 2021? Yeah, and then they just didn't have it last year or this year.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
The other big thing that they do there, and I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but they have their own candlelight processional as well. You know, in the front part of Disneyland Park. I think it was 2017 or 18. I was there. I think 17. And
but they do not announce their speakers ahead of time, right?
There's kind of more surprise, and we didn't know. That's a good point. We had no idea, but we got to see Chris Hemsworth. Thor, and I just saw in my news feed that last night or the night before was Captain Marvel. Brie Larson was the one who done the candlelight processional, and it's very similar to what they do at Epcot. You know, it's the story of Christ in the music with the choir and everything, but they do theirs at Disneyland Park. So they do some of the same thing. If you're out in California watching our podcast and you want to experience a candlelight processional, you have it right there at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, yes, they are more secretive in who they're going to have pop out because they are in La La Land, and they can get a lot more celebrities. You know, I heard a rumor that we might, you might see Macaulay Culkin, and coming up here because he did just get his
star in the Walk of Fame. Yep.
So it'd be kind of cool if that happened, but rumors are like, everybody's got one, so we'll see if that happens. But Brie Larson was there last night or the night before.
Yeah. Which is really cool. I think, Disneyland's just a little different. Their transformation is not so overnight like Disney World's is. I remember seeing some people were questioning. They had already put like the snow covered peaks or whatever on the castle before Halloween was over. Yeah. So, and they take a while because they have some different. Their Haunted Mansion overlay is already completed because that's Halloween through Christmas time with Nightmare Before Christmas. But then they're also doing their It's a Small World holiday overlay, which takes, I think, a couple weeks for them to put together. And so I had a client that was there November 6th through 10th ish, and she just missed all the Christmas stuff because they were in their transition takes 2 weeks or so, whereas again it's truly overnight like at Magic Kingdom in Florida. So,
and one of the things I remember too from a few years ago, that year we saw Chris Hemsworth, was at Disneyland. They still have the old retro version that we used to have of Downtown Disney. It's still called Downtown Disney, that connects Disneyland and California's Adventure Park. And I remember it just being decorated to the hilt.
True.
That is a really cool, much smaller version of Disney Springs. They still call it Downtown Disney, but they really celebrate Christmas between the two parks there with pop-up shows and just great decor. So if you're going to Disneyland, make sure you spend some time, at Downtown Disney. Some great restaurants down there and stuff too, and they have a World of Disney store that rivals the one in Orlando. But yeah, great cool place. Disney, it's not, you don't need, I think, a week. I always tell, I don't know what you tell Alyssa or you, John, your families, I always tell my families the perfect time frame at Disney World is 7 days. You got 4 park days and 2 or 3 down days to explore. You don't need quite as long at Disneyland. I think a good 3 days is enough to do it all there, maybe 4th. If you want a rest day to actually get to enjoy your resort. But man, that's the original, that's the OG right there when it comes to Disney, is Disneyland Park and the castle. You mentioned the castle. It's a much different perspective than Disney World's, but what a cool castle it is, though.
And then lastly, I think we can do another episode probably on this, but would be amiss to forget a different type of holiday celebration down the road from Disney World at Universal. Orlando, because they do a good job. It's definitely not the same, but it's great. I think Grinchmas has really taken off, especially the last probably 5 years. They've really got that going. And I think I've seen a lot of excitement on social media about Grinchmas this year and the show, and like they have some different VIP tours you can do to get like special access and meet and greets with the Grinch and all this kind of stuff. And then I always growing up loved the Macy's parade going through Universal Studios. That's stellar. Like if you can't go to New York City, you could go see the one in Universal, and it's pretty dang close. So I think it's awesome.
I second your sentiments about the Grinch. It's, if you like the Jim Carrey version of the Grinch, they usually have one of their cast, I guess they're not called cast members, but one of their members, who's usually pretty darn close to looking like Jim Carrey's version, and the mannerisms. That's a highlight over there. If you really like the Grinch and the Jim Carrey version, not the Benedict Cumberbatch cartoon one, but the Jim Carrey version, they do an excellent job. I saw some videos on TikTok and YouTube of the Grinch actually eating people's creations that they brought him, like the who hash or whatever, and they really get into that over there. I mean, they really celebrate that version of the Grinch, and it's fun interactions. If you're ever looking for some laughs, check those things out. But yeah, Universal does a great job. It's different, just like Halloween's different over there too than at Disney. It's more PG over at Disney, and it's a little bit more, I'm not going to say R-rated, but adult oriented. They celebrate a lot of the fun IPs over there.
Yeah. So, well, I think that wraps it up. This is our second to last show of the year, right, Alyssa? I think. Yes, we have one more coming down the pike. Again, we're brought to you by Moments of Magic Travel, momentsofmagictravel.com. Get your free no obligation quote. And again, if you are subscribed to us on audio, be sure to like and subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Tell us how much you like us, and hopefully you don't hate us. And then, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for making it this far. Make sure you like and subscribe us, as well. And if you want to bring up a show topic, just leave us a comment, and we'll be sure to put that into consideration. So, any final thoughts, guys, or we can wrap this bad boy up?
No.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays. I'll try to send you some pictures, guys, from Disney while I'm down there, and maybe we could use a few of them in our year-end show.
Yeah, in fact, we'll be working on some new stuff coming down the pike. So for Jeff, for Alyssa, I'm John. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.
Happy holidays, everyone.